Hello everyone, welcome to DTBTV. Sorry about the delay that I'm getting at the start of these videos. It's a problem with when it's saying to me when I place going live, it takes about 10 seconds to tell me that I am live, but it's actually live on your side, so apologies for that. Anyway, Buenos Diaz. I thought that was a really good headline in the Echo. Buenos Diaz, which is good morning, I think, if my Spanish is right. Good morning, and I think Buenos Tardes is good afternoon. So, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Anyway, fantastic news about the imminent announcement of Luis Diaz. Obviously, really pleased with that. What a fantastic signing. I'm going to read out a little piece here from the Echo, from the Liverpool Echo. Just to show you what the city's thinking about the signing, and I'm going to read it out actually straight away. Let's start with it straight away. So, by Paul Gorst, one of the correspondents for Liverpool, which I really like sort of listening to when he gives a good, good account of what Liverpool are doing. So, sometimes timing is everything in football, even for a club like Liverpool, who pride themselves on forensic long-term planning. A sudden change in strategy is occasionally enforced. The move for Porto's Luis Diaz reveals as much. Jurgen Klopp is not a huge fan of the winter window. See? Did you hear the point there? It's not FSG, it's Jurgen Klopp isn't a fan of the winter window. Anyway, we're not getting on that FSG subject. Carry on with what I'm saying. Jurgen Klopp is not a huge fan of the winter window, and a cursory glance at his January dealings across his time as manager prove as much. Virgil van Dijk aside, the club have rarely made significant splashes in the market midway through the campaign. Taki Minamino was an opportunistic deal once information about a very minute 7.25 million release clause in terms of football fees at Red Bull Salzburg. Red Bull Salzburg had been gleaned by sporting director Michael Edwards 2 years ago, while Marko Grujic was loaned back to Red Star Belgrade in 2016. Steven Corker, Ozan Kabach and Ben Davis were all short-term cut price options to help out a defence that had reached breaking point. So the £37 million deal for Diaz is a break from tradition if we part the very obvious Van Dijk caveat for now. The reason for that was the sudden emergence of Tottenham's interest in the week. Now, I'm hearing from several sources I've been reading this morning that Daniel Levy's fucking raging. He's absolutely fuming because he's under pressure to deliver finances and transfers for Conte, because Conte will walk. I said this to Craig the other day. It's kind of funny. So I said, sorry, I didn't say it to Craig. I said it on the Liverpool Groove podcast, which you need to check out, by the way. I said that it's kind of funny that he left Inter Milan because Milan would not give him the fees to spend in the transfer market, and it actually, as we speak right now, Inter Milan have spent more than Tottenham, which is funny. But anyway, going back to what I was saying here. The reason for that sudden emergence of Tottenham's interest last week, with Antonio Conte keen to get arrivals through the door in the north of London to aid a push for the top four, Klopp and his recruitment team had essentially had their hand forced. Diaz is understood to have been earmarked for a summer move, but Spurs and Manchester United's interest accelerated the best laid plans at Anfield. Liverpool had initially intended to keep their powder dry, a fact that is backed up by the late attempt to bring the 25-year-old winger to the club after spending most of the month without Mane, Salah to choose from, which is true. We've just gone through the January window. We're almost at the end now. The deadline day is tomorrow night. Can't wait. Love transfer deadline day. And we still didn't move for Diaz early. We didn't go for him when the window just opened. Do you think we would have done it? We think we'd have just waited till, when the window had opened and just gone and got it. But we didn't. We just kept on with the faith. Okay, we've only got, Salah and Mane out for 2 to 3 weeks. So what we'll do is we'll just go with what we've got. We'll use some of our youngsters. And then all we've got to do is, just wait until Bobby and Firmino and Keita come back. But that shows you how patient we are in our transfer stance. That tells you that Klopp, I actually think Klopp should, I know he's not going to because he don't care. He always says it, Klopp. If I have to keep convincing supporters that we know what we're doing, then there's nothing I can do for you. So even myself, rarely I get twisted, but even I got to the point of desperation. But that was only because of COVID. I've said that. I was worried about 5 or 6 being gone for COVID every week. But it was so calm in the way we do transfers that we're not even rushing them to the point of, we could have gone, solid, the AFCON's on, let's just buy Diaz now. Because we clearly could have got him in the window because we've just done that. But what we've done is we've gone, no, we'll wait. We've got faith in our academy, we've got faith in our squad, which turns out to be 100% correct based on the fact of our record whilst they've been at the AFCON. It's been phenomenal. So again, Klopp, FSG, they were right to believe in the system and the strategy and the way they go forward. They got it right. If we'd have lost 4 out of 5, then every single one of the fans could have said, you should have brought Diaz in at the start of the window to replace Mane and Salah. But they didn't. So you can't say that. And it's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying being wrong all the time, but there's no better person to be wrong to than Liverpool. Because if Liverpool are getting it right, then we're all happy. So anyway, let's get on to where I was. Liverpool had initially... Had Diaz always been a winter target, once the suspects the club would not have been dispatching a delegation to Argentina for late medical as the windows entered into its final hours. It would also be fair to suggest Klopp would not have been made to operate without Origi, Mane, Salah for a domestic cup semi-final and 2 big Premier League games had the intention to bring Diaz in this month been the case all along. Just said that right now. Sources in Colombia believe Diaz's potential move to Anfield would represent the second biggest transfer deal in the country's history, behind only James Rodriguez's 2014 switch to Real Madrid. Then that then will only see Liverpool's standing grow, considering the area of the world that is dominated by Real Madrid, Barcelona, which is something that will be viewed as a welcome byproduct. Once the player's entourage was informed of Liverpool's concrete interest this week, the attacker's mind was made up. Sources close to the player have confirmed. Diaz, who was the joint top scorer in last summer's Copa America alongside a certain Lionel Messi, has been in sensational form for Porto this season, with 16 goals and half a dozen assists in just 28 games for the Portuguese Giants. Are proof that Diaz has pushed on from where he left with the Los Cavaleiros in the summer. His potential arrival will be another big fillip to the squad that is already welcoming back Mane, Salah and Keita immediately from the African Cup of Nations. Anfield sources have stressed that the late move for Diaz and the logistical reality of sending out a team to conduct his medical in South America, where the wide man is on international duty, make the deal still fraught with problems. Now this is yesterday's Echo, it's done now. They've already... I was busy with FC Liverpool yesterday, so I didn't get to do a live yesterday, but this is just basically saying there's still a few things to go. But as you can see from the pictures, he's signed his contract, he's wearing the training top, which I'm going to get next, I love that one, and boom, as Klopp would say, he's in the bag. Anyway, to continue this, it is understood that the Colombian's potential signature is also not dependent on anyone leaving the club, which means we don't have to sell. Something which we will be seen as a positive with regards to the speculation over Salah's unsigned contract, which is true. If we was needing the finances to fund this deal, then we would sell players. And if we were needing the finances to fund this deal to sell players, then we would be a little bit in trouble with Salah's contract. The fact we do not need to sell players to fund this deal shows us that we're in a very good financial place and that Mo Salah's contract should be announced in the summer. As I've said on countless videos before, he's got 18 months left. Announce it in the summer. Boom. There is, though, the reality, though, that Diaz deal has been brought forward 6 months, meaning the transfer kitty will be less sizable, though, that hoped in the summer. The Porto Stars' eventual fee could rise to as much as 50 million. In access. Despite having a long-term strategy in place for Liverpool's squad, Liverpool have been made to prove that they can be flexible when the time calls for it, because timing in football, as they say, is everything. So absolutely love the Echo's post, absolutely love the Buenos Diaz headline, absolutely love that, absolutely love Liverpool, buzzing with a signing. I cannot stop watching his YouTube videos because he's absolutely fucking unbelievable, and the fact that he's on 16 goals in 28 games and he's had multiple assists, wow. And he's going to go and play in that front three. And then the stat I seen yesterday, which even made me more buzzing, was that he can run faster than Mo Salah, Sadio Mane. There was a graph showing how fast, I think it was 33.5 km, he can run quicker than Salah. I think Salah was 32. So we have got I can imagine now the boardrooms of Tottenham, the boardrooms at Man City, the boardrooms at Man United, the boardrooms at Arsenal, the boardrooms at Chelsea going, fuck, 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 fuck. They've gone and got him, which means now they've not only just, you know, we were thinking, here we go, they won't last forever, you know, Marnie, Salah and Firmino coming to the end, and then they go get Jota, who's unbelievable, and now they go and get Diaz, which means now they've replaced 2 out of the 3 problems that we hoped that would go away at some point. And that is called world-class transfer strategy, world-class managing directors, world-class manager, world-class owners. You'll never walk alone.